Greetings everybody, Skipper back here again for the next part of our Abloy Protec2 series and learning a little bit more about the lock and how to decode the disc. So in my previous video I went over how to identify the disc and what cut they are and a couple of internals about them. So this time we're going to sit there and decode the keys by looking at the cuts on the keys. Now, when you first look at these, you're looking like some people will be, whoa, this is pretty difficult to be able to decode the key. But once you learn how the Protec2 series work with the keys, it becomes a little more simpler, but it is still a little tricky sometimes to make sure you've got the right identification on the right cut. So Skipper's going to go through this, done this a few times, made some mistakes along the ways. And that's why I'm going to share with you how to grab your Protec2 key and how to decode it to know which disc in the disc stack goes where on your key. So like I said, I've got a lot of different unused, non-used keys right here that we're just going to grab. So let's just start with the first one here. And we'll just come straight with it. Now, there's a couple things that I do want to show, and I'm going to zoom in close here because this is where Skipper made a lot of mistakes on restacking his disc stack, putting that Protec2 together, snapping that top on, putting the key in, turning it, and it didn't work, didn't line up. It had a disc somewhere out of order. So just remember this: the first two discs are going to be pretty much what I call fixed discs. They are always going to be the same. They're going to be a silver one and the disc locking bar controlling disc, and then you start coming into the next 6 discs, which will be your key profile disc. In other words, that's the ones they will use to key your lock, the next 6. So the first 2 that's on the bottom are not. The next 6 will be 2. Then the 7th one will be a fixed, always the same disc. It's going to be one of the sidebar controlling disc locking anti-pick bars that go in the Protec2 core. It's always going to be fixed, and just to kind of show you, it's this one right here, and I'm going to zoom in closer to go. And then you have 3 more discs on top of it, and then you have your cap that goes on this. So you really have 9 discs that have any type of bitting or cuts that need to be, and then you have 3 other discs that are pretty much maximum rotation discs that go to help function lock. So yes, there are 12 discs inside of the Protec2, but only 9 of them are used to actually key it. And there's 6 cuts on each disc. But anyway, I'm going to zoom in real fast because this has a perfect example of the tricky part on the key. Now, one thing we want to do first is make sure you're always reading the correct side. And I'm assuming you're looking at a padlock. Most of the Abloys that I deal with are padlocks, so we want to make sure we're talking about padlocks on this end. It's always, the key needs to point to the right, and we're going to read the top disc right here. Now, one thing about it is I kind of explained in my previous video, as I'll explain again, each cut of a disc has an opposite cut on the other side with a different corresponding cut, with the exception of the number 6. The number 6 cut, let's see if I can show you. Here's a nice example of a number 6 cut right here. Number 6 cut's going to be cut the same way either way because, like I said, these can be used into Euro locks, Mortesian, door locks. So sometimes they need to be able to turn both ways in order to lock and unlock a door. So number 6 is always going to be identical, same right here on both sides. So you can see it's just cut flat all the way, looks the same on both sides. The other one that's going to look identical, the same on both sides, is a number 4. And I can see a number 4 cut right here on this key. And it's going to be this one here, number 4 and number 4. It's cut the same on both sides. Now, let's not get into that right yet because I want to show you how to identify the cuts on the disc. So first of all, there's going to be, if you know anything about the Protec2, the keys are cut on 2 different axes. You have a top axis and then a second axis, which is a little bit lower. Now I'm going to put it against this white card right here so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, And as you can see, some of the cuts are a little bit lower and some are a little bit higher. That definitely matters, because the higher cut disc is going to grab that first little cut on a disc first, and the lower one will skip that first cut, the first little notch on a disc, and grab it later on as it turns into the middle section of that disc. So on each Protec2 key, there are really only two different, I won't say two, there's different angles, but between the first two axes, on the first axis, the top one, there's only two angles of cut. One is basically no cut at all, and the second one is going to be like this number 2, which is cut at an angle. Now, you can see to identify number 1, first of all, we're going to come all the way here top. I'm going to put this bar on top so you can see the axes that are cut. So you can see right here that it's going to be this one, these two, and the end cut right here. These are all going to be in the number 1, number 2 ranges, the number 1, number 2 discs. So now that you know that there's only two different cuts at this height, it's pretty easy to distinguish which is a number 1 and number 2, because we all know the number 7 disc is always a number 1 cut, because it's got to turn that disc all the way for that disc controlling anti-pick feature that these have. And these down here at the bottom, now this, don't let this fool you, this is just a profile cut that's cut in this direction right here, okay? That's a profile cut. But it is truly a number 1 cut on both of these, because on each side of the profile is brass on each side to actually turn those discs all the way, just like this one here. So now number 2 is going to be one that's cut slightly back. You can see this has two number 2 cuts right here behind this one, but this is where skippers gotten fooled a lot of times, okay, because it's very, very not noticeable. A lot of times on a profile disc, you'll see the profile cut come right here, okay? And if you see a profile cut come in and it stops, and then you see that little vertical sliver right there, the first cut is that sliver. I mean, the first key disc is that sliver. That's going to be your number 1 disc. So there's 3 discs that fit right here, and that's the third one right there, which is going to be your first key cut disc, which is a number 1. I have missed that so many times and gone straight to number 2. Now, the way to easily identify that is, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see it. You see that little sliver of a cut right there? Still there with that profile? You can see the profile, and I'm going to try to keep my finger here so it'll focus good. You can see that profile cuts in right there, but it stops. And then right there's the first disc. Now, let's just grab an opposite key here. This is a perfect example of another key. You see the profile cut on that one, but it goes all the way through the cut. And now what I'm saying is all the way through the cut, it goes all the way across right here. So that first disc is going to be the number 6 disc, which is right here. So don't let that fool you. You know, with that number 6 right there, because I have misstacked many of these before to do that. So with that, we're going to come right here, and I'll just keep this key in hand so we can know. So we got our first 2 bottom discs right here. This profile cuts all the way across. There's no little sliver right there for a number 1 disc. So we know my next one's a number 6, because I told you number 6 are flat. They are a 0 turn disc. Now we look at the axis right here. We're still dealing with a top axis cut, and this disc is not cut at all. So I know that's a number 1. Okay, so we'll continue on, and we're going to come into this one right here. And we're going to look at this one, and this one is a number 4. Now I'm going to easily identify number 4 really fast for you, because not only is it cut the same on this side, but it's also cut the same on the bottom. So that is the opposite side also. So you know how to identify number 4 really fast. So you have number 6, a number 1, and a number 4. And then we come back here and look at this one. I'm going to rotate it. Yes, that is another number 6 cut disc right here on this particular key. And then we're going to look and see, you know, hey, there's another cut here. Now, it looks very close to that number 4 that we had right here. I mean, a lot of times I get these mixed up, but that's actually a number 5. It's cut slightly further back. But if you don't have a number 4 to compare it for on your disc that's close, you're going to miss it. But let me tell you how you're not going to miss it. Because the opposite of a number 5 cut disc on the counter rotation side is a number 3. So you can look right here and say, whoa, look right here, here's number 3. And I didn't tell you what number 3 was, but obviously a number 3 is the same pretty much front face of a number 1, except it's cut on the second axis right here. So number 3 is going to be this one here. It's going to be the short, but all the way out. And a number 5 is going to be a short, but all the way back. You know, short cut. Now, again, you won't see that little notch right there because you want that number 5 to keep rotating back until it finally catches that right there at the very end and turns it. So I hope Skipper's making sense on this one. So now we're going to look right here. Here's another cut right here. That's a number 2. And I'm going to look and say, hey, you know, are you sure it's a number 2, Skipper? Yes, I'm sure it's a number 2 because the opposite of a number 2 is a number 1, which is the full cut right there. So I hope I'm making sense on this. Number 4, number 2, number 1. There's our disc controller right here coming in next. So it's a number 2 number 1 cuts here. We have another number 6 cut. We have another number 5 cut right here. And like I said, number 5 is one that usually gets me right off the bat. But because I can see the number 3 on the bottom, the opposite of number 3 is number 5. And there we go. So this key cut here, if we go from bottom to the top, is going to be a 6, 1, 4, 6, 5. And what is that one, guys? A number 2, because it's cut high. So 6, 1, 4, 6, 5, 2. Here's our disc controller right here. And then it's going to be a 1, 6, 5. So that is the bitting on this key cut. And you know, if you can find disc for it, you can rekey locks to that to do it. So let's just grab another key real fast. We'll do another one. Kind of help you see a little bit better. Now here again, I'm going to bring this one up close and show you that first number 1 disc right there. You can see really good that profile does not go all the way through it. The profile stops right there. And right there, and you see that's going to be a number 1 cut disc on the bottom. So let's decode this one real fast. Remember, 6 on the bottom, your control disc, and then 3 more on top of the control disc. So we're going to go a 1 right here, a 2 because it's high. You know, same first axis right here. So we have a number 1, number 2, a number 3 because it sticks out the same as a number 1 but just short. So we got a number 3. And then we're back up here to a high cut disc, which is another number 2 that matches this one. Remember, it's on the top axis, so it's going to be a number 2. Here we go, same cut but shorter of a number 2, same height as that. So this is a number 4, a number 2. Here's our controlling disc because I've got my 6 discs now. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's my control disc that controls those sidebars. Yeah, I just call them sidebars, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Then we have a 3, a 6, because it's flat all the way across, a 3, 6, and then here we go. Gosh, is that a 4 or 5? Well, let's just check the bottom part. That is a number 3 on the bottom, so we know it's a number 5 on top. So it's a 3, 5. So that's a 3, 6, 5 on top. So we have decoded this one. Let's go back through here. 1, 2, 3, 2. What is that? A number 4, because it matches the bottom. Number 4, a number 2, control disc. Number 3, 6, 5. So that is how you can decode your Protec2 by looking at it. Hope this video helps. We'll just do one more key differently, so maybe you can see it again. And again, this one is, I'm going to go through this one pretty quick. I'm going to try to turn it a little bit so you can see this disc shine just a little bit better. Again, profile does not go all the way across. Here we go, but as these two are on the same axis, this one has a lot of number 2s and number 1s in it because they're cut high. You can see it right there. So let's run through. So we got 1, 2, Is that a 5 or a 4? Well, it's a 3 on the bottom, so it's a 5 up here. So 1, 2, 5, 6. That is going to be a number 2 because it's high. 6. There's your control disc, remember? There's 4 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 on the bottom. So we go back here. 1, 2, 5, 6, 2, 6. Control disc. And then we're right here. And we're like, okay, is this a 5 or a 6? I'm going to look on the bottom. That's a 3 cut. So that is going to be a 5, 2, and a 3. Right there, because the opposite, that number 3 sticks out just like in number 1, except just lower. So I hope this helps you out in decoding your Protec2. You can go back through this again. Hope that helps you out. And guys, thanks for tuning in. Just for a little educational series, I'm going to do one more keyway here. That's going to be different. See if there's anything that throws us off again. I'm going to look at the profile cut right here. It stops before that right there. It does not go all the way through. So the first one's going to be a 1. It's going to be a 2. It's going to be a 4. That one's easy. And number 5, 4, 2. Control disc, 2, 2, and a 6. And there you go. So we were able to decode the disc stack on this. This will help you tremendously if you ever gut a lock and you spill all the discs out and get them out of order. Once you get them stacked up, you'll be able to identify the disc by number, like I showed you in my previous video. Then you'll be able to decode your key, and you'll be able to stack these discs in there without having to look at a key or turn it in there, because a Protec2 key is a very highly engineered piece of brass and very impressive. But guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Went a little long on this series, but I want to make sure on this video, because I wanted to make sure you knew how to decode a lock that you have right here. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Give me a thumbs up, likes if you like it. Let me know if you want to see some more on Protec2 series, because whether you do or not, there's going to be more. I'm going to get into some security features inside of it, and talk about a little bit more about the top cap part and how that plays into the key, and keeping everything lined up on it, and just all the internal parts of the Protec2, so we can all be a little more educated on this fine piece of engineering that Abloy has made. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good night.